in the building. We at the church house. Amen. It's your boy T Good Dog.
It's Christian here.
So right now, man, we are at the church and we eat some good food. But we got a special guest that had us come out. He said come get some good food. Mr. David Alexander. How you doing, brother?
I'm blessed, man. I'm just glad y'all were able to join me here today, man. This is an awesome place to eat. And I really don't know if you remember back in the day, but this brings back memories for me, especially being a police officer for 32 years. This reminds me of H&O Cafe. You ever heard of it?
Oh, but good.
H&O Cafe?
Yes, sir.
Man, so this Inglewood All-in-One Cafe is the 21st century H&O Cafe.
H&O. Now, I've heard about the H&O, man.
And actually, I got one of my favorites that was from H&O today, which is smothered pork chops, black-eyed peas, and collard greens.
Man, his plate look kind of extraordinary big over here.
That place looking right.
So let me just go and get this tie off. Cause,
go ahead, man.
I don't want to mess.
Gravy on white shirts is going to be...
Don't want to mess.
Yeah, you know, if I have my white
mess the
shirt
tie up, you know, it might mess the shirt up, but I don't want to mess the shirt and the tie up.
Right.
You know,
Man.
but and I will tell you something. After I'm done, hopefully you'll ask me all the questions you want to know, because I'm telling you, it's kind of hard to
Kind of hard to want to
put
talk
the thoughts together. After, you know, your eyes get heavy and the music gets very soothing. And, you know, next thing you know, you're trying to find a nice, quiet place where you can go sit down and meditate.
That's exactly what I'm gonna do when I get in mine. Cause I got the candy yams with the 3 whole wings and the soft roll.
Yes, sir.
The soft roll with the chicken, that brings me back not the H&O, but the good old high school on chicken day. Chicken day, man. That's the time when I used to fight to get in line to get the food, man.
I took mine all the way back to my college days, man. It was the first time I ever had some oxtails. I was at Florida State, man. We had a little place called G&G's right over there by Fairview. Right off Orange Avenue, man.
Yeah.
So I came in today. It's Friday. The oxtail special is today, so I had to go ahead and collaborate with the place and jump on the today's special. I got cabbage, black-eyed peas, and cornbread.
Ooh,
I ain't gonna say nothing else.
It is amazing how that when you went around the historic black college communities, and you always found that cafe that really served that home cooked food.
Right.
And man, when you couldn't eat in the cafeteria on the campus, you made that beeline to that cafe, man, and everybody know you could get some good groceries.
Right.
It was 2 of them in Tallahassee. It was G&G's that had the Jamaican, and then when we wanted just the pure soul food, we had the Bethel Cafe. Bethel Baptist Church.
Shout out to them. The church always has the best food.
Okay.
And this one in particular, we're at Inglewood.
Yes.
All-in-One Cafe. Whenever you hungry, and it's not a Sunday. You can come any day of the week to the church house and get blessed. They have a great menu, a wide array of food.
Yes, they do.
We can talk about food all day. But Mr. Alexander, man, you said H&O's. And so, you know, growing up, I've heard about that place from some of my elders. And so that means you grew up in the city. What school did you go to? What high school or what about yourself in the H&O days then?
Okay, well now, actually, I was when I was born. I was living in Addicts Court, number 25 Addicts Court.
Okay.
And my dad, he moved us to. We rented a few houses in the area of Jay and Gonzales, but then we moved out to Warrenton.
Right.
And from Warrenton, I attended public school. Now, Jehovah Lutheran was on Davis, where Cathedral of Faith Church is now, Davis and Haddon. There used to be Jehovah Lutheran School, so that's where I went for the first grade. But right after the first grade, they began to integrate the public schools. So I wound up going to Navy Point Elementary out in Warrenton, where I went to school with a lot of pilots and Blue Angel pilots, children. And I went from there to Warrenton Elementary, from there to Warrenton Middle, and then from Warrenton Middle to Escambia High School.
Okay, Escambia High School.
So we were actually the first graduating class of Gators. Matter of fact, I got my plane mask on, but I had my Escambia High School Gators mask out in the car. So.
Oh, you said the first graduating class of Escambia Gators.
Yes.
history right there.
Yeah, that's history. Cause
So that was the first class. So Escambia High School wasn't always the Gators.
no. Matter of fact, you know, when history records 2 major race riots, one in '74 and one in '76. And in '76, I was a sophomore when that one happened, and from '76 to '78, we had a temporary nickname of Raiders. But then the student body and faculty voted in '77 that Gators would be our permanent nickname. And a young man by the name of Dale Boyd, his brother, he was a basketball player, and his brother was a basketball player. And he actually drew the original mascot of Gators.
Wow.
And that year, his brother was on the varsity team, and they actually, while the school was shut down because of the riot, they actually made it, I think it was to the sectional championship, and it was a very small team, racially mixed team. And while the school was in turmoil because of the race riot, this group of black and white basketball players they were underrated. They were called the Cinderella Raiders. And they actually, I think if really they could have got a good rested week, they probably could have made it to the state finals. You know, that was monumental because traditionally, Escambia High School was never known for having a state quality type basketball team. So it kind of brought us together as a student body. When we come back to school, man, we were working together, and so that's how we were able to vote for the nickname Gators, and that be our permanent nickname for the school.
Wow, that's history in itself, and it shows that, you know, people coming together.
Right.
To have a common bond, you know, whether your skin color's different or your gender's different,
right.
Everybody came together. You guys turned to the Gators, and from what I've always known as the Escambia Gators, they've been doing pretty good, you know, over the time frame. But that's very important that you said that. I'm mind blown because some of these stories we never heard before. So you're a child of Pensacola, Florida. Now you like, how tall are you? Like 6'3", 6'4"?
Like 6'2.5".
6'2.5".
Yeah.
You didn't play no ball, sports?
Man, that was my love, basketball, man. That was my love. I played basketball and I ran track. And I could never seem to convince my dad to let me play football. That might have been the best thing for me because a lot of players were getting hurt. They didn't have the training and technology that they have now for football. So I probably got hurt out there because I was not the type that liked to stretch. And that's very important, especially when you're growing. And I was very thin. I was very slim. But I played basketball. And I've been the type of person that had to deal with, you know, the failures of life. I didn't make the team initially. I was a freshman. I was cut, and so I was invited back out the second semester to try out again. And this time I came with a different determination. Right. And I think I was hungry, so I'm with
the Hungry
Brothers today. So I was hungry when I came back out there. And so that's been like a reoccurring theme throughout my life. I went to Morehouse College when I left Escambia High School, and I didn't finish college there. I mean, I learned a lot being there in Atlanta, but I did not finish college there. When I came back home and I got back into college, I was very hungry to get my degree. So the hungry is the buzzword. Right? So and when we talk about the cafes, Miss Bishop's was a place around Morehouse that we went off campus to eat, and there was a guy named Herman that had pizza, homemade pizza, and hamburgers. So, and I find out when you talk to, you know, not just black kids, but kids from all different. When they get that college experience, there's a place, you know. So my friends across town that went to Georgia Tech, they went to the varsity. So, you know, I went to the varsity one day. I was like, wow, man, I love hot dogs, you know. So it's amazing though how when you look at diversity and how you begin to talk to people, and you think that diversity focuses on a lot of differences, but really diversity is focused on a lot of commonalities, things that we have in common. And that was also another reoccurring theme that I learned from, is that there's a lot of strength in diversity, especially when you're dealing with communities and you're dealing with groups of people. So.
And that's key also. And if I'm not mistaken, so how long were you in the Pensacola Police Department? Because I remember in high school, I used to see you in the car. I went to school with your daughter.
Yes, sir.
I wasn't the ideal good student. In fact, I saw him in other places also. But one thing I could say was, I remember, I think the first time I saw you, you actually spoke at our church's vacation Bible school one time.
Yes.
And I remember him walking in, and I was like, that dude, I seen him before. I'm gonna sit down in the back. I'm gonna sit down and I don't want him to get me or nothing like that. But, so how long were you in the police for?
I was actually in law enforcement for 32 years.
Wow.
And
I knew it was a long time.
and
We both were 30. I'm 36.
Yeah.
So
I knew it was a long time.
my daughter's 33, and yes, I wound up being Uncle Dave. One of the guys, one of my colleagues came and said, "Man, how many nieces and nephews do you have?" I said, "Depends on who you're talking about."
Right.
I had one of the school resource officers call me one time. He says, "I got your nephew in here threatening somebody with a box gun." I was like, "What?" I mean, I know all of my nephews.
Right.
I don't have a nephew that's on edge like that.
Right.
I'm like, what happened? So I say, who is it? And so we'll just use his nickname. It was Lil T. So Lil T, I was in no, it wasn't Theobald. But his mom and his dad and I were in PE together in high school.
Wow.
So that's how I got tagged Uncle Dave.
Right.
So I say, well, who is it? He says, you know him as Lil T. I said, okay. I said, ask Lil T, am I really his uncle? And he said, oh, okay, I got it now. I said, no, so now, why we got the box cutter in school?
Right.
So, because the other thing is, if you get to call me uncle, then I get to hold you accountable for your behavior.
That's right.
And so one of the things I liked about the power relationship between officers and students is that whether you were black or white, if you became a respected person, and I'm quite sure y'all can name your school resource officer. And so if Officer Kramer, because that was a lot of people knew Officer Kramer, if Officer Kramer said, hey, you need to go home, it was like, okay, I'm going home. So if Uncle Dave pulled up and said, do I need to call your mama? And they didn't like to hear that, because I know I didn't want to hear that. When I was in high school, he said, I know your dad, it shut everything down. I don't care what I was doing. It was like, okay, time to go. He knows my dad. So so that's what that when you talk about that village concept, there were a lot of people in that village that were responsible, that had some input in making sure your child stayed the course of doing right, even when they weren't at home. And that's why I really push in community policing, people getting to know officers getting to know people, because it raises the level of accountability in the community. And so now you know that this person in this family is a very respected person in the family. So if this person comes over and say you're wrong, you are wrong. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So
that's right.
So that was something that really became a powerful tool for me in the 32 years of my being in law enforcement. And believe it or not, it was just not with black families. It was with white families, with Asian families. I just got a text, and a guy's going to support my campaign that grew up in the neighborhood where I raised Amber and David at. And so his sweetheart that he was dating then when he was in high school, they're married and they're living out in Texas. So he found out that I'm actually running for sheriff. So he told me, he says, I just remembered it back in the day, we lived on Riviera Court. And he talked about, back in Myrtle Grove where, I would have never dreamed while I was in high school that I would live in that neighborhood for 11 years. So a lot of times, that's why I kind of wonder, how in the world can you get into a gang thing about turf wars when you might be living in the area that you are at odds with right now? You may find yourself living there later on. So, but I understand it goes much further than the demographics. It's about the causes and the issues surrounding the cause. But I still think we got that village in the rough right now. Is we just got to seek hard to go get it and cultivate it and bring it back to the forefront. And food is a way to get it done.
Yes, we are here.